The November 2022 Household Affordability Index has shown the food basket has gone up on a monthly and yearly basis. The monthly cost has gone up by 48 Rand and 13 cents, or essentially 1%. Now, I know it doesn't sound like an awful amount, but when we talk about the food basket, we're talking about the very basics that many households in our country used to be able to afford. Let's bring into the conversation Mervyn Abrahams, Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group. And Mervyn, I want to start the conversation there, just as we've said, a little bit of context, because I think it can get lost in the small incremental increases. And even as I say that, I'm uncomfortable saying it because 1% doesn't sound like a lot to the middle class and the upper class, who probably don't even know what the bread basket is. But for those who are living on 350 Rand a month, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yes, good morning, Gareth, and good morning to all your viewers. Yes, a slight increase of 1% or a decline of 1% does make a difference because, you know, people are able to buy an extra loaf of bread. And so for the very poor, that, of course, is good news. But, of course, having increased over the last month means that the loaf of bread they could have bought last month, they now cannot buy this month. And that is having major kind of impact on households' ability to source sufficient food.
When we talk about the kind of items in the food basket itself, you mentioned now that the loaf of bread you were able to buy last month is now gone. So it's literally food taken out off your table. And so what other kind of food items are we talking about? Just off the top of my head, I keep thinking of, for example, chicken feet, carrots, apples, oranges, maize, flour. But just remind me what's actually in this basket.
Yes, so correctly, as you have mentioned, in addition to those, we have, for instance, rice, we have flour, we have sugar beans, we have cooking oil, salt, potatoes, onions, curry powder, stock, soups, and then we have a few eggs, and we have, of course, other vegetables such as tomatoes and green peppers and butternut, and then, of course, things like peanut butter, margarine, polony, apricot jam, and bread. So that constitutes our basket, which is very, very basic foods. And that basket now stands at 4,835 Rand and 96 cents, which is, as you correctly mentioned, a 48 Rand increase on last month, but a 563 Rand increase or a 13% increase over the past year. We have not seen any such wage increases. We have not seen any such levels of increases in social grants. So what we have to take away is that actually households now have less money, or at least the value of their money buys them less food. And that is contributing to an alarming increase, actually, of hunger in our country.
And that's where we're heading to. We're talking about households who are going to have a very hungry December as well, and also a very hungry 2023. What more can government do here? Because of all the various loans for COVID and all the kind of support structures and relief grants, why do we not see more relief? A relief grant, for example, like a food relief grant in our country, or is that an unfair comment to make?
No, we really have to begin to ask ourselves how we restructure our social security. In the event of people not getting jobs, and, you know, we have an unemployment rate, expanded rate of well over 40%. South Africans are looking for work but cannot find it. So in that case, our social security, at the very least, should be able to afford households the ability to buy sufficient food, because accessing food is not only because of our human dignity and our bodily functions, Gareth, it also plays an important role in terms of our educational outcomes, about how much we spend on our health budget as a country. It also contributes directly to our future economic growth and economic productivity. So at least the social grants should be at the level where people can access sufficient food.
And just as I say goodbye to you, Mervyn, I just read this now, and I must be honest, I didn't realize this. Why is it in some areas we've actually seen a decrease in the food baskets? Help me understand where those areas are and why that happens, just briefly if you could.
So we've seen a decrease in, for instance, the city of Cape Town. That is to be ascribed to the fact that Cape Town grows their food closer to the table. So a lot of agricultural production around Cape Town, meaning that the logistics, the amount of petrol price that is counted into the retail price is so much lower. And so we have seen a decrease there. Correspondingly, in KwaZulu-Natal, we have seen an increase in the basket directly connected to logistical and petrol, because in around Durban we do not grow much of our food. It comes in from from the Eastern Cape, etc. So there's a greater cost of petrol in those prices.
So it's cheaper the closer you are to the farm. So farm to food basket prices can come down depending where you're living. Mervyn, always good to speak to you. I'm sure we're going to unpack this as we head into December as well. Going to be a very tough time for a lot of people. Not everyone is going to be having a Merry Christmas, unfortunately. Mervyn Abrahams, thanks as always for your time.